I was born and raised in Oregon. I left in my 20s to pursue a career. Oh, I did come home to visit, quite often in fact. Oregon has that kind of pull. But it was not until I finally retired that I came home for good. Over the years, I have not spent much time in eastern Oregon, especially the far eastern counties. Oh, I drove through them a number of times, heading down I-84 on the way to Yellowstone, the Midwest, or back east. But I never stopped off to take a look. Now, I knew there were some wonderful mountains there. I could see them. The Blues, the Steens, and the Wallowas. I see where Wallowa County has been designated one of the 7 wonders of Oregon. They say it is a place where life is not much different than when I was a kid in the 1950s. No fast foods, no big box stores, no traffic lights. I thought, I'd sure like to see that. Well, in the month of May, I finally made that visit. To become familiar with a place you've never been to, where do you start? How do you get pointed in the right direction? Fortunately, I connected with Vicki Searles, who heads the Wallowa County Chamber of Commerce. She has asked me to come by her enterprise office for the lowdown on where to go and what to see. To get to Wallowa County, one must exit on what residents here call the world's longest off-ramp. 70 miles of State Highway 82 that departs from Interstate 84 in La Grande, goes up through Elgin, then into the valley, and finally ending in the town of Joseph. As one emerges from this canyon, you get the feeling you're in for something special. Well, you are.
People come from everywhere to watch the rivers run and look up on the Wallowa Mountains and feel the morning sun. Some say it's their first time here, but it feels like coming home. A peaceful, easy feeling like they've never known. It's as pretty as a picture, but there's more than meets the eye. It's a feeling of belonging to a slice of paradise. It's a special kind of lifestyle, respect for life and land, where no one is a stranger if they need a helping hand.
The sight of these mountains completely overwhelms you. They are so close, especially now covered with this late spring snow. Many call this Little Switzerland. It's no surprise as to why.
It's as pretty as a picture, but there's more than meets the eye. It's a feeling of belonging to a slice of paradise. It's a special kind of lifestyle, respect for life and land, where no one is a stranger if they need a helping hand. This is paradise. This is paradise.
The drive from Portland is just over 300 miles, so last night I stayed in Elgin. This morning, I left without eating breakfast, so now I'm looking for a place to dine. The first town I come to is Wallowa, which is noted for its Main Street grill. Perfect. Whites first arrived here in 1871, forming the expansive Union County. It was not until 1887 that this side of the mountains was redesignated as Wallowa County, with Enterprise as its county seat. Ranching and agriculture have always dominated here. Wallowa was founded in 1888 and was noted for its lumber mills, but by 1990 the town's logging days were over. The population of the entire county is barely over 7,000 residents, and just 800 of them live here. This morning, many of them are having breakfast here at the grill. When the locals see me walk in with my camera, I'm sure they're saying, "Oh boy, here comes another tourist season." Enterprise is noted for its locally quarried Bowlby stone, which is prevalent on many of the town's buildings. Most noted is the Wallowa County Courthouse, which sits on Courthouse Square, featuring this stunning bronze eagle. At the Chamber of Commerce, Vicki is fully prepared for my coming by.
Well, welcome to the Wallowas.
Soon there is a conveyor belt of brochures coming my way, identifying a number of valley attractions, places to stay and dine, as well as detailed road trips.
And so we have some driving tours that I'd like to maybe see if you might be interested in. We have ones that go over to Troy, beautiful area, go down into the Grand Round River. It's just a gorgeous drive. And then we have the Zumwalt. And the Zumwalt, that road trip is probably one of our most special road trips that you could take while you're here.
In order to see the area, I asked Vicki, how many days should I plan on staying?
Well, I like to say that 3 days would be the minimum if you really want time to experience it, especially a family, because Wallowa Lake has a lot of family type of attractions for kids.
Vicki loads me up with a number of other publications and even more suggestions on what to do in Wallowa County.
Now that's going to tell you and show you where all of our galleries are at. It's going to have museums in there in the area.
As the get-together ends, I mention the promos I am seeing in store windows for some big music event. Vicki tells me I'm in luck.
Oh yeah, the Hootenanny is going on tonight. Absolutely, you should go over there and visit. You'll have a great time there.
Gather round, my dear Bowling Green. Hey, good old Bowling Green.
When I was at the University of Oregon in Eugene, formed there was one of the seminal music groups of the 60s folk music revival. They were called the Travelers Three. Now 80 and retired, Rich Shirley was a member of that group. Today he lives in Wallowa, and this spring, members of the Wallowa Valley Music Alliance decided to assemble a tribute to Rich's music. In keeping with the times, they are calling it a Hootenanny.
I wish I was in Bowling Green. I wish I was in Bowling Green. I wish I was in Bowling Green. Hey, good old Bowling Green.
After the event, I had a chance to talk with Alliance President Janice Carper, who explained how this event came about.
The idea started with a couple of our board members that have played music with Rich Shirley, and then pretty soon we had created an event, and then we thought about calling it a Hootenanny because it sounded like fun, and it was casual, and it kind of fit with the folk music style that he played with the Travelers Threes.
It is a spirited evening that plays to a packed house. all here not only to enjoy the music, but also a wide selection of homemade pies, most of which are consumed during the intermission.
Oh, it was just kind of a sideline entertainment. One of those sort of reminiscent of the hootenanny era of the pie social and the sort of the old days celebration that, might happen on a Sunday afternoon.
Rich was a few years ahead of me at the U of O, but I remember his legacy. So it's good to see he's still traveling on. Before going to the hootenanny, I found a place to stay. One of Vicky's brochures described a very attractive inn called the 1910 Historic Enterprise House Bed and Breakfast. Fortunately, proprietors Jack and Judy Burgoyne had an available room. I knew tomorrow I would want to hit the ground running, so I made a few calls. One of them was to the Winding Waters Excursions, a river rafting group in Joseph. It turned out tomorrow morning they would be taking a group out on the Grand Ronde River, so I signed on. Jack and Judy's breakfasts are famous all over Eastern Oregon. After downing most of what they served, the portions are entirely too large for me, I head to Joseph. Gathering time at Winding Waters is 8 a.m. Fortunately, the town is only 10 minutes away from Enterprise. Originally called Silver Lake, it was not until 1880 that Joseph named itself for the Nez Perce Indian chief. Today it is noted for Chief Joseph Days, one of Oregon's most popular rodeos, and for its many bronze foundries, the products of which are seen all along the main street. Winding Waters is owned and operated by Penny and Paul Aronson, two outdoor enthusiasts who shortly after college married and decided to start the Winding Waters Excursion Company.
I'm Paul Aronson.
And I'm Penny Aronson, and we are the owners and operators of Winding Waters River Expeditions based in Joseph, Oregon.
And we've been working here since 2004, running this business. And we offer single and multi-day rafting and fly fishing expeditions on the Grand Ronde River and on the Salmon River in Idaho and on the Snake River running through Hell's Canyon.
We also offer trips that are perfect for families, for groups, for individuals. And then we also have charter trips where if folks want to have their own experience on the river and book an entire trip, we offer those as well.
Before taking off, Penny and Paul gather the group together for an orientation.
That's a time where we like to share a little bit of history about the river that we're going to be floating and make sure everybody knows where we are. First of all, we're very into place.
This is the Grand Ronde River. It's flowing about 3,500 cubic feet per second today. So it's kind of a lower flow than we would expect this time of year.
And then we like to discuss a few topics about staying safe on the river and make sure that everybody's aware of the potential hazards that are there so that we can mitigate any problems that might arise.
It's a great trip for everyone. The kids have a great time, and we have a variety of boats that we take that offer different levels of adventure.
And you don't need any previous experience to come and enjoy a trip with us. The majority of our guides have been with us since the beginning, so we have a very experienced crew who can take care and meet the needs of just about any experience level, from beginner to expert.
Today, the river current is moderate, but that does not mean our hosts are not alert for problems.
We have a boat in the back, typically, that's running what we call sweep, and then we have a lead boat in the front. And so we keep our inflatable kayaks and our paddle boards between those two boats. So if there is a problem, then we can get to them easily, either from the front or the back. And then we have throw ropes in our boats as well, so we can always throw a rope to a person if they need it.
At the halfway point, there is a stop for lunch.
On our single day trips down on the Grand Ronde, we typically do a Southwest salad that has both meat option and a vegetarian option. We try to accommodate any kind of dietary needs that we need to be concerned about. Typical weather on a trip would be hot and sunny in the summertime, June, July, and August. But there is the chance of being splashed while you're in the boat. So if it is a little bit cooler, we like to have people wear maybe a raincoat just to keep the splashes off. But typical day, you just want to have quick drying clothing on so that when you do get splashed, your shirt will just dry off and you'll be back to having fun in the sun. I would say the repeat business is probably 80% of our business. Maybe one family will come this year, and then 2 years from now they'll bring back multiple families to come and join and have the similar experience that they had.
With the Wallowa Valley so dominated by ranching and farming, I asked Vicki if she would help me set up a visit. She suggested Carmen Ranch, a family-owned grass-fed beef operation located just outside the town of Wallowa. I made arrangements with Corey Carmen Flynn and her husband Dave for me to come out for a first-hand look. The movies give us preconceived notions about ranches as being massive spreads with a big bunkhouse and a triangle on the porch announcing mealtime. A family ranch is a much more intimate operation.
Carmen Ranch is today a cow-calf operation, as well as a yearling operation, as well as direct sales, and also distribution of the beef that we raise. The cow-calf portion of it is really common. It's something that ranchers have done here for 100+ years. The direct sales is becoming increasingly common. I think we have really phenomenal grass here, and people are increasingly interested in finishing their animals on grass. So while our exact model is relatively uncommon, the different aspects of it are actually fairly common. The vast majority of beef in this country starts out at a cow-calf operation like the ones in Wallowa County, and then eventually they end up in a feedlot. You know, the beef available in the grocery stores, beef we buy in restaurants, it's all gone through a feedlot process. And that adds a lot of consistency to the beef, and it allows for really efficient distribution and processing. But the thing that's most compelling to our customers, I think, has to do with the health benefits. animals finished on grass, the resulting meat is a lot higher in omega-3s and vitamins and certain minerals. So people are excited about that.
Dave and Corey are fourth-generation residents of the Wallowa Valley, although over the years family members have frequently come and gone from the area. Corey herself received a degree from Stanford University in public policy and was working in Los Angeles when she decided to come home for the summer.
I always loved cattle, and I always loved Wallowa County in general. I mean, it's a gorgeous place. But I didn't consider ranching to be a viable career option. Certainly the people that I was going to college with didn't consider it to be a viable career option. And I came home for the summer, and I just wanted to spend the summer here. I didn't actually intend to stay for 10 years like I have. The second week back, Dave just kept appearing, over and over again to help out. So eventually, I think I met him in July, and it was October before we actually went on a date. For the most part, Dave manages the grassland and the day-to-day of the animals, the day-to-day of the irrigation, big construction projects, anything that we're going to do that's sort of a hands-on, physical, outdoor type of thing. And then I manage what goes on in the office and the sales and the customers. I spend a lot of my time in Portland. And then everything else where those two things interface, we do together.
When running a specialized operation like this, while maintaining a marriage that is also a business partnership and raising 3 children, I asked Corey, overall, what is your biggest challenge?
It's probably related to the direct marketing side. If it was an established supply chain, I think it would be more manageable, but since we're building it from scratch and carving our way through infrastructure that doesn't yet exist, it can be a bit much.
I was not able to visit a farm, but that afternoon I did come upon a place that relates to farming in a historic way, and that is Earl McLaughlin's Sunrise Iron, an impressive collection of tractors and related farming equipment. Earl refurbished his first old tractor in 1983. Since then, his collection has grown to where he finally had to build this structure just to get them all under roof. Actually, there is no formal parking lot, no lobby, no place to purchase a ticket, and no gift shop. What you get is Earl. One of his favorite rigs is this prized traction engine, manufactured by Advanced Thresher Company.
Yeah, this is a 1913 Advanced Rumley steam traction engine that it probably took me 10 or 15 years to negotiate with the family on, and just because I would provide it a good home. It was pretty much all here, all the steam whistles, all the gauges. It was pretty much all here, so I didn't have to replace any parts. And then do the research on colors and get the decal packages on it. And the refurbishment process probably took, I would guess, 700 hours. Just a rough approximation. I may be completely off, but I would guess, if someone wanted to put a number on, I would guess 700. The history behind this one is it ran as a sawmill here in Wallowa County up until about 1950, and then from 1950 till the end of its working days, it ran a sawmill in Union County.
Of course, his collection would not be complete without a John Deere tractor. This is a particularly old one.
Yeah, so I acquired this tractor probably, estimation of probably 15 years ago, and I got it out of Central Oregon. And I don't deserve to own this tractor, but it's a 1925, quote unquote, a Spoker D. And that represents real early production because later Model Ds all had a solid flywheel over here. Well, this one over here has got a spoke flywheel, and that makes this tractor really desirable.
Earl's enthusiasm for these old rigs is infectious. What grand machines and what history. While visiting, quite a wind comes up, to which Earl says, could be snow. Because of the fine weather I've enjoyed so far, I pay little attention to his comment. Well, surprise, surprise. This morning I wake up to find the entire valley covered in snow. It's the 3rd week of May, so how can this be? But those who live here say it's not unusual. I only hope the accumulation does not become too serious, because this morning I have an appointment to visit Valley Bronze, the foundry in Joseph. By the time I get to Joseph, the snow is coming down much harder. The bronze sculptures make it appear as if the town is in midwinter. Fortunately, Valley Bronze is open and working on schedule, so I proceed with the visit, but not until I take a few moments to check out this unusual snowfall. Bronze foundries have become the most identifiable industry in the Wallowa Valley and can be found in both Enterprise and Joseph. Valley Bronze opened in 1982 and today has a growing list of artists from all over the country who come here to cast their work. Tours are easily arranged, so I set up something for this morning. The process is fascinating and far more complex than I imagined. Artists come here from as far away as Maryland. They bring their work carved from clay, wax, or most any other material. Sculptor Dave Lemure Jr. is from Idaho.
As an artist, I like to have a clean representation of my work, and working with the team that they have put together is it's a great team, and they're always available to work with you and make whatever piece you have look exactly like you want it to look in bronze.
The first step in casting is to make a silicone rubber mold of the object. Once set, the original can be removed, leaving the rubber mold an exact duplicate of the original. However, it is too flimsy to work with, so a mother mold is devised to hold it in place. Once fully secure, a thin wax impression is attached to the rubber mold. This is done by pouring hot wax in and out of the mold until it cools on the walls about 1/4 of an inch thick. The molds are then discarded, producing an exact, hollow, wax version of what will eventually become the bronze figure. To this is attached a pouring apparatus, which is also made of wax. The assembled unit is then dipped in heat-resistant ceramic, filling it completely, both inside and out. Once dried, the ceramic is placed in a heated kiln that melts out all the wax, leaving only the thin 1/4 inch space for the molten bronze to flow. After cooling, the ceramic is hammered away and the casting process is over. The resulting bronze object still has to be cleaned up, polished, and in some cases even assembled. Then, if color is to be added, it undergoes a patina process, or is treated with acrylic paints.
Actually, I'll just ask him about the values and the colors of a piece. And for instance, the piece that we're working on, the ferric is an incredible color that translates almost exactly to the red tails of the red-tailed hawk. So it's a great patina to use on that bronze.
Examples of works founded at Valley Bronze and other local foundries can be seen and are for sale at the Valley Bronze Gallery on the main street of Joseph. The quality and diversity of these works is quite impressive. Visiting the inside of an actual bronze foundry is a good way to spend a snowy morning. But once coming out, I can see the snowfall is already melting. I'm told by afternoon it will be gone, not an unusual phenomenon for spring in Wallowa County. I need to go back to the Chamber of Commerce to pick up some more information, so while in Enterprise, I will also lunch there. The Range Rider is an Old West-style cafe, obviously very popular with the locals. While I enjoy an excellent burger, the staff suggests I come back on Tuesday because Tuesday night is fried chicken night. Well, I'll probably do that. While at the Chamber, I was able to talk briefly with Chamber President Mark Stauffer. I asked him, what makes Wallowa County such a desirable place to live?
Well, again, it's the first thing people see when they come into this valley is the beautiful vista and how close the mountains are. And the activities that are available to a person here are really broad. I mean, you can hike, you can bike, you can go horseback riding, you can take guided trips, float trips on the rivers. You can visit a lot of our different hometown shops here, walk down the streets, and most of those shops are operated by folks here in the community. The other things that you can do are fishing and hunting, and plenty of campsites, both developed and undeveloped. There's miles of roads in the forest areas that you can do. A lot of activities for a person to do while they're here.
Late morning, the snow was gone, so I checked out of my B&B and headed for Imnaha, a very tiny Wallowa County town 37 miles east near the Oregon-Idaho border. I made reservations at the Imnaha River Inn, a place that appears too remarkable to be out in the middle of nowhere, so I am anxious to see what that's all about. From Joseph, there is a very scenic road to Imnaha, but I see on the map I could also get there by driving into the Zumwalt Prairie, which Vicky said is quite remarkable. So that becomes my route. The Zumwalt Prairie is 330,000 acres of grassland that has been designated a National Natural Landmark. As such, it is one of the largest remnants of a grassland system that once extended from west of the Rocky Mountains clear up into Canada. Zumwalt has remained pretty much intact because of its high elevation, harsh climate, and poor soils. Much of its beauty comes from being so isolated and primitive, but also from its many wildflowers, which at this elevation I am too early in the season to see. The Zumwalt is traversed by a well-kept gravel road that will take you to a number of spectacular lookouts over the Snake River, but I will travel only to where the cutoff road leads to Imnaha. What I do not realize is how this early in the spring, the county has yet to tend to this primitive little road. As a result, I get bounced around a bit and even have to ford a couple of streams. As I descend, I do notice the outside temperature becoming warmer. The climate in Imnaha is much more like the flatlands of Idaho than the elevated Zumwalt Prairie. When I was told Imnaha is small, I did not think it would be this small. Back at the beginning of the 20th century, this was a thriving community, but today the town has only a general store, a post office, and that's it. A sign indicates my Imnaha River Inn is still a few miles down the road, So after getting a soda at the store, I make a beeline to the place. The drive there, along the Imnaha River, is actually quite lovely, featuring a number of quiet farms. Finally, I arrive at the Imnaha River Inn. What a stunning place. This is the dream house of builder Nick Vidin and his wife Santee, who operate it as a B&B. To find a place so grand in such a remote area is a big surprise. Nick says travelers come here from all over the world, some to hunt, some to fish, and some just to find out what it is like to experience absolute silence. Much of the house was built from reclaimed forest firewood, greatly adding to the spectacle of this central room. Santee fixes excellent breakfasts and will offer other meals upon request. Nick, he helps out with the meal service, but mostly his job is maintaining this remarkable place. Tomorrow morning I will drive to the Snake River with hopes of taking a ride on one of its famed jet boats. Nick suggests on the way I should add a side trip to see the Seven Devils, the nearby mountain range in Idaho. He says the best place to view them is at Saddle Creek Campground, and adds that the drive there is spectacular. This evening I'm the only lodger at the inn, so it makes no sense for Santee to prepare a dinner for just one person. Instead, I will eat at the general store. More than 100 years old, this place is very much a throwback to the early 1900s, when residents such as actor Walter Brennan ranched here. A big black belly stove keeps the place warm, while locals share their opinions on what's going on in the rest of the world. Tomorrow, using rural gravel roads, I will travel through a breathtaking part of Oregon that few travelers ever see.
Highway, the Oregon Trail is leading me. I travel the scenic byways to see what I can see. Blue mountain waters are running crystal clear, and everything people dream about, you can find it here. This is God's country, as far as the eye can see. This is God's country, I'm part of it and it's a part of me. I feel the cool mountain air, I see the evergreen trees. The skies here are bluer than I've ever seen. The sun comes over the Seven Devils and warms the valley floor, then gently kisses Ruby Peak as the golden eagle soars. This is God's country, as far as the eye can see. This is God's country, I'm part of it and it's a part of me. God's country.
My destination is the small Snake River town of Oxbow. On the way, I stop at the Hells Canyon Lookout. There's been a little rain, but I am able to see down into the canyon. This is a popular stop along the Hells Canyon Scenic Byway, a 213-mile heritage route that runs from La Grande through the Wallowa Valley and finally terminating in the city of Baker. Tonight, I have accommodations at Hells Canyon B&B. Tomorrow, I will be on the river.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Mark.
Hells Canyon Adventures offers a number of jet boat river excursions. Captain Mark Yates outlines a few of the company's choices.
Hells Canyon Adventures has been in business since 1973. This is our 40th anniversary. We provide service to the public in river transportation, raft shuttles back to Hells Canyon Dam, and tourism-related trips into Hells Canyon.
Captain Yates explains why jet boats are a good choice for navigating a river such as the Snake.
Jet boats are a safer form of travel in a shallow river, rocky, whitewater situation. They draft very minimal water. There's nothing underneath the bottom of the boats that can be damaged, and therefore you can overcome the currents and the large rapids, both going downstream or returning upstream.
If you are not comfortable with getting a little wet, then taking a trip at the height of the water season might be a concern. But not going means you're going to miss out on a whole lot of fun.
Well, we focus on safety. The main thing we focus is that it can be rough and jarring and that you can get tossed about. At certain times of the trip, we make everybody wear a life jacket. Each has its points of what's worse. Low water, of course, you have the possibility of striking a rock more so. In high water, the current's very powerful, much stronger. The wave action is much bigger. The ultimate is the medium water, but low water, you just have to pay attention. You have to be focused, and in high water, the same thing holds true.
For lunch, we stop at a point in the river where Penny and Paul Aronson have also brought one of their Winding Waters tours. They are finishing their lunch break just as we are about to begin ours. It was good to see them again.
Our kitchen staff, typically they do deli style. We buy whole hams and turkeys. They slice them up. Lots of salads. They change them up all the time. Throw in a dessert, lots of fresh vegetables. We try to keep it for no matter whatever your dietary concern is, that anybody has something that they can enjoy on their meals.
It's time to head back. Going downstream is perhaps a little less dynamic, but it will still have its moments.
Our return business is probably 80 to 90%. That people don't return every year, but every 2 or 3 years a family has friends, relatives that come in and they always come back. Word of mouth is the way our company operates.
This morning I am trying to head back to Joseph in time to attend the annual Wallowa Festival of the Arts. The valley has a very active art scene, so I'm looking forward to this event. First I will head to Wallowa Lake. As I arrive, I notice a sign to old Chief Joseph's grave, the one-time leader of the Nez Perce, and father to probably the most renowned Native American leader ever, young Chief Joseph. The Nez Perce tribe was living peacefully in the Wallowa Valley when in 1871 President Grant decided to open the area to white settlers. Now, even though there were no conflicts between Indians and whites, just 6 years later it was decided to move all Nez Perce out of the county and place them on reservations in Idaho and Washington. The move was resisted by young Chief Joseph, which resulted in one of America's more famous Indian wars. After an ill-fated 2,000-mile escape march to Canada, Joseph finally announced, "I will fight no more forever," and accepted internment for the Nez Perce. In just over a year, the Wallowa Mountain region had gone from having a Native American majority to having none at all. There remains here a considerable regard for both chiefs and for the Nez Perce tribe. The city of Joseph was named after them, and the Tamkalik celebration and friendship feast organized every summer in Wallowa is very well attended. By the time I get to the Arts Festival, it is well underway. There are a number of fine works on display here, but the highlight of the afternoon is the Quick Draw event.
Quick Draw is really a fun event in which artists, and this year we had 15 artists, they bring all of the materials necessary for them to create a work of art, and they must do so within an hour-and-a-half time frame. So from start to finish, the first brush stroke that hits the canvas is the beginning. And while an artist is creating a piece of work, the patrons that are there watching are also bidding on that very piece of artwork as it literally comes to life in front of them. And so at the conclusion, after an hour and a half, the artist is then finished creating the work. Many of them actually frame the work. That's the truly finished piece. They have about a half hour, and then we collect the bid sheets and announce the winners, who the successful bidder was for that particular piece of art.
At the festival, one work of art, a beautifully crafted Indian flute, stood out because it was so different. I made arrangements to visit the artist, Roger McGee, so I could see how his flutes are made. Well, it's quite a process. The first stage prepares a block of western red cedar by splitting it in half and routing out its internals. Roger dabbles in other artistic disciplines, but flute making is his specialty. He receives orders from all over the world, even as far away as Russia. Once the two sound chambers are created, a combination of drilling, chiseling, and wood burning create the voice of the instrument and the finger holes. Following this, the two sides are glued back together and the flute can be carved. Roger is completely self-taught, so he is not sure if this is the correct way to make an authentic Native American flute. All he knows is his system works. Finally, the flute is finished with stain to make it look more antique and given some decor. All that's left in this process is to test the instrument, as they will vary. This one sounds just fine. Back at the lake, I complete the day with a dinner at Valley's Restaurant, probably one of the best known in the Valley because of its authentic Hungarian food. There is no menu, Whatever owner Maggie Valley and her son Mike decide to prepare that day is the dinner that is served, and it is always delicious. The next morning, I am ready to take a ride on the area's #1 attraction, the Wallowa Lake Tramway. For 45 years, this Swiss gondola tramway has been carrying passengers 8,000 feet to the top of Mount Howard. Once there, a number of trails provide expansive views of the Eagle Cap Wilderness, the lake, and the entire valley. The tram is not open year-round, and in fact began this year's operation only a week ago.
Our seasons, basically, we have an early season which starts about a weekend before Memorial in the mid-June, and then our mid-season's June to Labor Day, then the end of September.
Being here at this time of year, while the air is crisp and clear and the mountains still have their winter snow, makes the view extra spectacular. It is no wonder why so many visitors make the Wallowa Lake Tramway a must-see.
The #1 asset is the view. It's unmatched, you know. We have the whole Wallowa Mountains. We're overlooking Wallowa Lake. So it's quite a panoramic view as you walk around the mountain.
This evening I stay at the Wallowa Lake Lodge. Built in 1923, the historic inn denotes the great western lodges of a bygone era. Longtime owner Steve Larson notes that visitors come here for many reasons. Some to enjoy the large, comfortable lobby, while others admire the lodge's collection of lamps and unusual picture frames. Most agree the large dining room serves some of the best food in the entire valley. The Wallowa Lake Lodge is featured in the book, Great Lodges of North America. This is my last day in Wallowa County, so following a gourmet breakfast at the lodge, I will depart and head back up the world's longest off-ramp. Once leaving Wallowa Lake, I will again pass through all 4 towns, and as I go, I intend to stop at a number of places Vicki mentioned I have not yet had a chance to visit. I'll begin in Joseph, where I'll spend a good part of the morning at the Wallowa County Museum, which houses artifacts from the early years in the valley. Also here is an excellent display on the Nez Perce tribe. Down the street is the Josephy Center, a former bank that has become a community arts center, and houses the library of Alvin Josephy, an American historian who specialized in Native American issues. The Josephy Center schedules all manner of arts-related classes, displays, and activities. Today, a quilt show is taking place. The second floor houses the temporary location for the Maxville Interpretive Center, which is dedicated to the one-time logging town just north of Wallowa. Maxville is noted historically for bringing the first organized group of African American laborers to Oregon. I do not want to leave Joseph without again stopping at the colorful Embers Brewhouse for lunch. Often during this visit, I've dropped by here to enjoy their fine sandwiches and good brews. After lunch, I move on to Enterprise to do a little antiquing, then to Lostine, where I see its familiar Blue Banana Coffee Shack. Lostine is also an antiquer's paradise. On one side of the street is M. Crow & Company, which has been in operation for more than 100 years. Once inside, it seems like you've truly gone back in time. The walls, counters, even the ceiling is covered with merchandise many of us have not seen since we were children. On the other side of the street is Second-Hand Antiques, where the owner has devoted his life to collecting 20th century household items that range from dishes and cameras to wood tools and old TV sets. The size of this collection is overwhelming, especially in the back addition, where the tools are housed. Finally, it's on to Wallowa, where I spend time at the Nez Perce Trail Interpretive Center. As I mentioned earlier, in July the Wallowa Band sponsors the Tamkalik Celebration and Friendship Feast, along with an accompanying powwow. Wallowa County musicians have a real love for the area and often write ballads that promote its virtues. Driving back to Portland, I pop one of my favorites into the CD player. It is a poignant way to sum up the wonders and the quality of what awaits visitors to this distant eastern Oregon county. Yes, getting here does require taking the world's longest off-ramp, but is it ever worth it?
Rivers and rangeland, rigs and four-wheelers, red tails and cottonwoods, hounds and blue heelers, glacial erratics, terminal ale, rodeos, sled dogs, magpies and quail, red barns and grange halls, Tamkalik's powwow, elk with new antlers, thinks he's a cow now, roads off to nowhere, nowhere to go, out in the county, it's blowing with snow, it's hard but it's worth it to live on this land. There are no guarantees of a bird in the hand. We carve and we chisel, we plant and we plow. We're sticking it out in Wallowa. No Starbucks, no Walmart, no traffic, no stoplights, no money, no worries. Just stay out of bar fights, neon and nightlife, and finely lit fountains. Can't hold a candle to the moon on the mountains. There's beauty in silence, deep as the sky, spirit and salmon, and dreams you can't buy, friendship and fellowship, all here together through fire and drought, wind and fair weather. It's hard but it's worth it to live on this land. There are no guarantees of a bird in the hand. We carve and we chisel, we plant and we plow. We're sticking it out in Wallowa.